Cubes of the Cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I have, as I like to say, a plethora of co-hosts this evening. We have Steve, the Voice White. How you doing tonight, Steve?
Good evening, everybody.
We have Chuck Hensey. How you doing tonight, Chuck?
Doing great. Good to see everyone.
And, of course, we have our guest from last week, now in the co-host seat, Mr. DVH himself, Dr. Von Hoot. How you doing, sir?
I'm very well, sir. Thanks for having me on.
And one thing all three of these gentlemen have in common is I think they're all off of work from right now, the bastards. So they got that going for them. And, of course, our guest of honor this evening, making his first appearance on the 1011, we have Frog Brawler. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing quite well. Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for coming on. So did you have fun picking out your books?
Yeah, I found it really fun, and then I found it stressful, and then I found it fun, and then I found it stressful, and then I found it fun.
You know, if we're not putting you through the whole gamut of emotions, we're not doing our job right. So
That's it.
But before we get going, just give a quick 1 minute, minute and a half of who you are, what you do, your involvement with comics and our social medias, and then we'll say hi to the audience and then come back to you for your first book.
Sure. So, yeah, I'm going by the moniker Frog Brawler. I've been kind of hanging around the YouTube community for roughly 2.5 years or so. I didn't know it existed. So I initially started collecting back when I was a kid, and to date myself, I was born in 83. So initially got into this with X-Men cartoon, or the X-Men animated series, I guess. And then that led into a lot of other things. Got really into Marvel Masterpieces, and then as I was doing that, I started picking up a few books here and there. And around 2013 or so, decided I'm gonna, kind of get back into this at a greater extent because I had some expendable income finally. So got a little bit into this, and I found out there was a YouTube comic community during COVID, and so I kind of just jumped in. That's kind of my background, I guess, I suppose.
Nice. That's
Fantastic.
all right. Let's say hi to the audience. So first in this evening, we have Kevin, Hulk Collector 82. Nice to see you, Kevin. James Las Cruces. How you doing tonight, Las Cruces? Nice to see you. You got Frog saying hi to everybody. We have the OG herself, Miss Tina Carenson. Nice to see you as always, Tina. And let's go down. We have Paul from Psychedelic Comics. Good evening, Paul. One of my all-time favorite people, Jerry the Jitterbug. How you doing? Another all-time favorite. We have Anachronic Comics Joe, who's double dealing, watching us and CJ at the same time.
Double deal.
Look, get into that book. I've watched CJ unbox stuff. He might not show that book for the first hour and a half.
Yeah,
everybody.
It legit takes him 2 hours before he'll open that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we got Trev, the shipping guru. Good evening, Trev. One of the best supporters out there in the community. How you doing tonight, buddy? Nice to see you. And we have Brad. How you doing tonight, Brad? Good to see you, sir, as always. All right, so Kevin, we are going to turn it over to you. Oh, the Jackson Roykirk. How you doing tonight, Jackson? Nice to see you. Every once in a while, I like to break one out just to make sure you're awake out there, Jackson. Terrific comics and pop culture. So we got Chuck saying hi to everybody. And then we have
G-Man.
Book the G-Man. How you doing tonight, sir? Nice to see you. All right, so Frog, the floor is yours, sir. Why don't you start us out with your first book? And if any of us have anything we want to ask you, we'll interject.
Sure. So I kind of alluded to it with my intro. Born in 83, got into this with X-Men cartoon, and I'm sure, like a lot of people that are of my age, this was a favorite character of theirs.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I'm going to kind of, teeter-totter around the rule a little bit. This is a little bit of personal story because this is the first book I ever slabbed. So I picked this up, and then I went through the whole process of joining this CGC and seeing what this was all about.
You got it raw?
Yeah, I bought this raw.
Amazing. A 9.4 on a raw book. Can't go wrong.
Yep.
Near mint, baby. Near mint.
Yep.
And you know what?
Yeah,
Everybody's
absolutely.
got personal stories with pretty much all of their books. I don't know about you, but yeah, same with me too. I got personal stories about every single one.
Yeah, that's fair too. I do have a good bit of personal stories pretty much with everything. But I'm gonna.
When you were watching that X-Men cartoon, he's the character that jumped out at you.
Yeah, Gambit, man.
Yeah, and I've been recently watching it again, and I'm like, wow, I don't know why I liked this character so much as a kid, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, there's a lot of other good Gambit stories that I do appreciate still. But yeah, that was the first one I ever graded, first one that I got back, and was really kind of my main target as a kid. I'm like, hey, when I get older, I'm gonna buy one of those books. So yeah, I've had it in my collection for 10 years, and it's been slabbed for about 7.
Nice. Did you
So-
get the X-Men Annual 14 to go with it?
I have a couple copies of that. I don't like the cover of that though, and granted, I will say Annual 14 is the first appearance. This is the first cover appearance. So,
Correct.
And
Very
the
good.
first appearance in continuity too, to be fair to it.
Right.
It was
You
supposed
know,
to
and
be
there's a
out
couple
first.
characters like that, DVH. Like I have Firestar's first appearance, which is Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. But then you also have her first appearance in continuity, which is in the X-Men.
Yeah.
So there's a few characters from the cartoons that had that weird distinction like that.
Yeah, but Marvel even admitted that 266 they screwed up. It was supposed to come out first before the annual. But you
Oh,
know,
Jackson's
things
hitting
happen.
with the dad jokes already.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
There you
all
go,
right.
DVH. You can use that one
Yeah.
on the Badger.
Now, did you have something you were going to show with it when we interrupted you, or was that
No.
just? Oh, okay, all right.
No,
Because
no.
you said you were going to change it up a little bit tonight. So,
Yeah,
Alright.
I'm gonna bounce back and forth.
oh, you're good. All right, book number 2, sir.
So sure. Number 2, actually, I have 2 for number 2. I've seen some other people kind of do that before, but these are some old
Ooh.
Raging Rhino books.
Holy crap.
Mhm.
And so the reason I'm showing these is my cousin was actually the artist for this.
Oh, wow.
Oh, awesome.
So
I've never
when
seen those before. Never
Yeah,
even
when I
heard
picked-
of that title.
yeah, it's Baghdad Boys and Vixen Wars.
Nice.
When I was gifted these by my aunt, it was basically, hey, you're not allowed to read these yet. You're not old enough.
Wow.
Oh,
So-
had some interesting information in there, eh?
Yeah, it's one of those old black and white 90s books, or I guess not one of, but yeah, a pair of those black and white 90s.
So they came
books,
out in the 90s then. The,
Yeah.
Yeah, early 90s for those.
Wow. cool.
So that was kind of always like I kept them, and I held on to them ever since I was a kid because family. So they were just cool. I've always liked them. Not going to get rid of them for anything, and they shouldn't be graded, granted, because there's I bent them up. I didn't know any better, but they
But
were.
did you take her advice? Did you not read them, or did she leave the room and you ran in another room and immediately cracked them open?
I immediately ran into another room, cracked them open.
Atta boy.
Yeah.
The sure way to
Yeah.
make a kid do something you don't want them to do is to tell them not to do it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Don't do it. Okay.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So those were just cool. I had to keep on to those.
Now, is your cousin still drawing comics, or has he stopped?
I don't believe he is. No. He's been doing art for I believe for like corporations and things like that. So
Oh, nice.
So he decided he wanted to actually be able to provide for his family. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. I think it was a little bit of trying to make some money there. So
Yeah.
Under the bed.
All right, number 3, sir.
Number 3 is actually just another single book, and it's another X-Men book, but it's a 97.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
There we go.
And I picked this based on the writing. The very beginning of this, the narration of it, and I kind of put a note aside for myself to read the narration on it. The Bard of Avon said it best, to sleep perchance to dream. Aye, that's the rub. For in the sleep of death, what dreams may come, we may have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. And if the dreams of the dead must give us pause, what then of the dreams of the living? For example, the dreams of Charles Xavier. But the dream doesn't hear Xavier's anguish, soul-torn cry, or if it does, it doesn't care to answer. And once again, Charles Xavier finds himself drawn out across the infinite, drawn into nightmare, drawn into hell. He has seen this battle 100 times before, on 100 sleepless nights. 2 mighty starfleets creating their own private Armageddon in the desolate space around a giant binary sun. Again, he watches helplessly as 10-meter energy beams turn Tricadian steel into puddled slag, as ruptured hills avoid precarious atmosphere into the space, and men die quickly, brutally, mercilessly. Again, he feels the terrible cold of this alien space, the terrible pain of these alien deaths, and again, for the 100th time in 100 nights, Charles Xavier wonders if he isn't going mad. So, holy shit,
Yeah.
right?
Hang on, I've got a question straight off the bat. How is that presented in the book? Because that is quite a monologue of.
Holy crap!
That's amazing.
That's a whole page, isn't it?
It's a couple pages, yeah.
Wow.
Let me open it up. I'll show you. The thing that got me is
Hamlet,
it's a mutation of Hamlet. Yeah. So,
Tremendous.
Going along with the mutants theme, and then Claremont coming into his own, coming into this. I think he started not with Giant X-Men or Giant Size, but 94. And this is 97. Yeah. So he's just kind of like, hey, let's just go for it. So.
Well, and that's also that same era of like the Don McGregor books and whatnot with Jungle Action, where you'd have these reams and reams and reams of writing.
Well, luckily it all turned out okay for that Claremont fella.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
This was, but yeah, it spans double pages and
wow,
the
artwork
just going throughout.
That
art is fire. I love that. That's amazing.
I know the art in the X-Men books was just so good for so long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the story was just well written too.
Yeah. Right.
Especially that Claremont.
The Claremont run especially, yeah.
Now, is Claremont your favorite comic book writer?
Not anymore. He's been surpassed, but I think he's my favorite X-Men writer.
Nice. So who has surpassed him for you?
Tinian. I like James Tinian for modern stuff. There's not really Tinian stuff that I've read that I don't like.
I mean, that's a good fifth or sixth choice. I'll give you that.
Come on, Tina's the shit, man. He knows his
I'm
stuff,
just thinking. I'm just joking around. You do it to them. Oh.
So yeah, the 97 had to get mentioned for sure. Just
so
the narration.
Blowing your mind right away back then, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, that cover was great as well.
So cool. So besides Gambit, who you already know is your favorite, who would your second tier X-Men be?
It's Wolverine. I mean, I wouldn't call him necessarily second tier, but I was always a Wolverine fan as well. In watching the animated series again just recently, I was making a comment that the most of them are kind of terrible. Just in that particular series, I thought Storm, Rogue, and Beast were the only ones that were kind of identifiable. Recently, granted, I'm watching it 30 years after the fact now, so definitely have different opinions on things. So,
Storm's always my favorite.
Storm's awesome.
You can have multiple favorites. They can all be your favorite.
You can. Storm, Lorna.
The entire team.
I always liked Polaris better than Jean Grey.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Polaris is a much more interesting character. So.
I think so. But they don't use her as often as they should.
Mm-mm.
But all right, number 4, Frog. Good stuff so far, sir. Nice to see what you like.
Number 4 is going to go off a little bit, and this is a really weird one in the sense, and the reason I picked it, it's Trekker number 1, by the way. Trekker is a book that I honestly have not read this. So the reason I decided I was going to pick this is kind of a personal story, which I'm breaking the rules a little bit, but I have a friend that during the pandemic he was kind of like, hey, I have a big box of books from when I was a kid. Would you like to go through them and we'll see what's in there? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, bring them by. So as we're doing that, I have his comics spread all across my kitchen and my living room floor, and they're just all over the place in multiple piles. In doing that, he had 61 copies of this.
Wow!
Holy crap! A little specking, eh?
Yeah.
Dark horse specking.
Did he know why he had it?
He was given comics on a regular basis by his grandmother, and so I guess she kept buying him the same Trekker book.
Oh wow!
And
you have Alzheimer's or something, maybe.
It was funny.
I mean, 61 copies of the same book.
Wow!
Like that's incredible. It's a lovely gesture too when you think about it. But also, maybe she should be looking at the covers.
But it's not Spider-Man 1, doesn't count. So
No.
So now he has 60 copies because you got one.
Correct. Yes.
Mhm.
So
And that's probably the whole print run.
it might be. It might be. I think there's a Kickstarter for rebooting Trekker. So I may or may not go on board with that. I'm not sure. I recently got that, so I haven't read it yet, but it's on the list of things to read.
Now, did he actually read it and really like it, so he doesn't mind having all those copies, or?
I know he read it. I don't know if he likes it or not. So I would speculate probably not, because he's never really talked about it too much. I know he's more of like a Punisher fan, and
Gotcha.
so I think that's kind of off the beat for him. But I had to get one just from the story alone. It was kind of hilarious.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know anyone that has 61 copies of anything except for Cali Comics with Magic.
Well, if you want to know, it's a 6-issue series. It's a mini.
See, and I see Trekker, and all I can think of is Star Trek. Like, Star Trek's ruined the word Trek forever.
Yeah,
it wouldn't shock me if Lee from Whack Comics had over 60 issues of.
Oh yeah, that's right, Berserker.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he had over 300 DVH.
Yeah, there you go.
Jeez.
I think he talked about it once. All right, number 5, Fun Truckers. So, did you ask him, like, why do you have so much of this? Like, holy cow.
Yeah. I had to get the backstory. Just like, why do you have 61 copies of Trekker? I've never even heard of this. Like what is
he
this?
never told his grandma. He just kept taking them, right?
Yeah, I just kept getting them.
Yeah, it came out in '87.
So the next one's, it's another, I'm kind of sneaking in 2 books, but it's kind of the same theme here. And it's another X-Men book, but it's also one of these giant Treasury by
the
Centennial.
Treasury editions. That is cool.
And so the reason I picked both of these together, and you may not know the commonality, and you may know the commonality, but the thing that these books have in common is that Jack Kirby is physically in them. Or not physically, but he's drawn into these books.
Right.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
So there's not a whole lot of books where Jack Kirby is actually in the book, but that's something I'm collecting. It's just something kind of not like a regular run. When I was reading 98, I kind of said, wait, okay, so there's Stan Lee, of course, he's in a lot, but Jack Kirby, I don't see him a lot, and so it kind of got me on well, how many books is Jack Kirby actually in? So then I found that bicentennial one, but actually, I've been kind of like trying to collect those at this point now too. So the books that Jack Kirby is drawn into, I'm trying to get a little collection of those myself.
Okay, so which X-Men one was that? Which number was that?
That was 98.
Okay, 98.
But with that though, born in 83, you kind of got into comics in the big 90s deluge there. So Jack Kirby wasn't really putting a bunch of stuff out. What was your gateway to Kirby?
So everyone gives a lot of focus to Stan Lee, and I kind of like to think about that like, well, wait a minute, well, who else was involved? And I don't think that Kirby gets enough credit. So that kind of made me want to focus on that route. Now, granted, I know he does get a lot of credit, but I don't know if he gets enough. So that was kind of more my focus in that regard. Like, well, let's kind of go for that.
Nice. That's the way I feel about Roy Thomas. And then some of our artists like Alfredo Alcala and Murado Esteban Murado and stuff like that. Steve Lealoha. You had all these journeymen that were doing great work back then who just don't get mentioned enough.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But nice. All right. So I just had to ask. I had to know how you got to Kirby.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those just like, reading 98, granted I read 98 as an adult and just kind of jumped out like, oh yeah, Jack Kirby's here. So what else is Jack Kirby in? And, spiraled into, snowballed into one thing. And
it's a really fun niche little collection to have as well, like a subcategory in your collection. I like a nice like quirk collection. That's fun.
Yeah, a fun hunt, right? DVH.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, and a rabbit hole to go down, and perfect for a show like this.
Now, do you have a favorite Kirby thing that he did? Like for me, my favorite Kirby is Devil Dinosaur. I just love Devil Dinosaur.
I don't think I do. No,
like that series is so much fun. And I know it's not what he's most known for, but it just everything about that little 9-issue series tickled me. I just loved it.
I haven't read Devil Dinosaur, but I should check that out. I would say I don't have a favorite though. It's hard for me to do that.
Now, Frog, do you collect a lot of his DC stuff, or are you just mostly Kirby Marvel?
Mostly Marvel. Yeah, I would say primarily Marvel. I have a few DC books here and there, but primarily Marvel and primarily indies.
Okay.
All right. Nice. All right. Number 6, sir.
Yeah.
See, we're getting some nice, good surprises learning about you here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. Sure. So this one should be a good surprise as well. I don't know if anyone's read this. This one's called Cherry Blackbird.
Okay.
This came out in 2021, actually. I put the whole series here to show them off, but
yeah, just don't open those pages. You can't show that off.
Yeah. So exactly, I can't show these. I don't even know if I can talk about these in full.
They got to advertise them somehow. They just say they're naughty.
I mean, I'm intrigued now.
Yeah.
Now I know you can't talk about it. I want to know.
It's okay. eBay.
The intro starts off pretty surprising. Well, surprising to me at the time because so I don't know what I'm allowed to say or what I'm not allowed to say.
Oh, you can talk freely on the show.
Yeah.
Okay. So she is in bed with a guy who's asking her to peg him. And so she goes about doing that, and as she's pegging him, Satan jumps out of his asshole. And it kind of starts the series off with that.
Oh,
and so the premise around it, she's a 26-year-old musician, and she is basically it's kind of Charlie Daniels Band meets Charles Johnson, where she sells her soul to the devil, but then the devil comes back to make a deal. And so he basically says, hey, there's these 7 souls that escaped from hell. If you can get those back for me, then we can write off the whole your soul belongs to you when you turn 27 thing. And so that's the premise of the series. So it's kind of horror. It's kind of comedy. It's kind of like
Pornhub.
The theme of it feels really 80s B horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so for that, I mean, I just kind of said, okay, I'm gonna bring this book because this is a fun one to talk about. But I definitely enjoyed reading it. So when I originally got it, I got a second print, which was this one.
Okay.
I liked it to the point where I'm like, all right, I got to go back and get the first print, and that's the one I still have polybagged.
I was gonna say, yeah, that one came in a bag, so.
Yeah. This one too. I have another copy of the second print that's still polybagged. Kept it that way because I read this one, so no reason to open it up again. But then my 2, 3, 4, and 5, those are all been open and read. So
Scout Comics has got some great books. I love Scout Comics.
Scout's awesome, yeah.
I like Scout, but it's hard for me to. I used to try to get a bunch of their stuff, and I liked it. Like one of my favorites was "It Eats What Feeds It," which I thought was great. But what's tough with them is good luck on when they're going to release something, and if they don't like how something's selling, they'll just stop at mid-story, which I can't stand.
Yeah.
That's one of those books that should try to do a crossover with Dawn from Cry from Dawn and Joseph Michael Linzer from the 90s. Frog, if you're familiar with that would make for a very interesting crossover with those characters. So
I'm not familiar with that, but I'll definitely check that out then.
Yeah, I think you got to start out with Cry for Dawn.
Yeah.
Wow, the first issue actually is a glow in the dark too. That's cool.
I'm clogging up with these lenses.
And they're still pretty cheap
He's
too.
already getting fogged up.
Yes.
Don't open the books right now.
Yeah, I just got these things.
Number 7, sir.
I'll drill a couple of holes in the side.
Right?
Yeah, I might switch back to the old ones. All right, so this is another kind of run I did, but it's Mullet Cop.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. I got that one too.
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
Yeah.
So I liked this a lot. It was just kind of ridiculous, kind of stupid. But it's kind of like RoboCop, but
yeah,
kind of goofy. And yeah, the mullet is how they repair him. And So with that, there was multiple variant covers of that, so I decided I was gonna go for all those variants. I like the art a lot too, and it's a series where it's a writer / artist doing the whole thing. So that's Tom Lintern, and I found it real fun. So I wanted to bring that one on to highlight this particular book.
I've had my eye on that, and it looks really, really fun. But
yeah, it was a funny book. I enjoyed it.
Pretty hard to get now on at a cheap price. Let's put it.
Now, when did that come
I
out?
might just end up getting it digitally. In fact,
yeah.
I think this is another 2021 one, if not 2022. It's fairly recent.
It's so weird that I missed it because my LCS gets a lot of the indies, so it's weird that one had not crossed my path at all.
Yeah, Comic Tom was all over that one too. We were talking about it, I believe.
Yeah, this wasn't at my LCS. I ended up ordering this directly from Scout.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, the LCS didn't get it, and I don't know why, but there was a second Mullet Cop series, or not series, but it was like a one shot.
Yeah, flavor of Danger.
Yeah, and I didn't like that one as much as this. I thought the first one was a lot better. So, but yeah, nice. Mullet Cop.
Well, DVH, you can still get it on My Comic Shop. There's still some copies available, but you're right. It's like $10.
It was what, Mullet Cop?
Mullet Cop, yeah.
Mullet Cop.
Okay. Because I know we had Maniac Cop and stuff. I don't remember Mullet Cop. I'm sure we had it, and I probably just didn't notice it.
Yeah, I mean, Mullet Cop is fairly recent, isn't it? 2021.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Number 8, Frog.
Number 8. So this is another recent series, but this is a signature one.
Tying in again.
Oh boy.
Nice.
Cool. Yep. And this is also probably my favorite current artist, and it's a toss-up between Frisson and Alex Ross.
Oh, look at that signature right across the arm. That is freaking cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So this was a special book for me in the sense that when this particular book came out, or when World Tree 1 came out, there was a problem with the print run, and there was too many dark copies, and so those were all pulled, and I ended up getting a copy. Yeah, I got one of those, and I thought that was going to be more rare at the time, so I ended up using this one as my reader. And as the reader, I said, okay, well, I have to be careful with it. And then after I read it, I got into pressing and learning how to clean and do all that, but it wasn't really in bad shape anyway, so I pressed it myself. Sent it in, got it back, got exactly what I wanted out of everything here. So this is typically on the wall. You can see there's some gaps.
Yep, the print is missing.
Yeah.
Now, if you like Frisian, have you seen any of the artists, Celine? Like, her stuff is really amazing.
Who is it?
Celine?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, she's got some incredible painted covers. Absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, and Jenny Frisian, she's another one of those artists, man. She's turning up everywhere. So it does.
Oh yeah,
she's like a Perillo, or they have like 6 to 8 books out a month.
Yep. Did you buy that one graded already, or did you meet her and get her to sign it?
No, I said I bought it raw, but then sent it in for the signature signing event. Yeah, so I didn't meet her or anything, but definitely was something I bought raw. I don't typically buy graded books. If I have a graded book, I send it in myself.
Okay. Have you got the spot foil version of that cover? Because that's great if you can find it. It was a UK exclusive, and it's just the little red splashes. They're foil on, and it's a virgin variant. It doesn't have the trade dress down the side. It's really good. Keep an eye out for it. I love it.
Right on. Yeah, I only have that one, and then the one that was supposed to have been recalled. That the shop I was at just didn't do that. So
yeah, I don't think any of them did. They're gonna make money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they know as soon as it's recalled that everyone's going to pay $5 more for that book.
Exactly, because they're wanted. It's
why would they send it back?
It's unique now. There's only 2 of them.
The little ka-ching goes off in their eyeballs, and they're all set.
FOMO.
All right, number 9, Frog.
Number 9, sure. So it's kind of another fairly recent one, but it's another special cover that I got on the shelf.
Oh, another great series.
Oh, nice! I never saw that cover.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think they call this one the Glitter Kitty, or some people call it that. But I think it was the Ryan Brown was the artist on this. I think it's his cat. So I think he just took a picture of his cat. I'm not positive on that, but I saw this on the shelf. It was $10 when it was.
I might be wrong, but I think it's a ratio, isn't it? Like it's one of the 1 in 10s or
like 1 in 10, 1 in 25.
Yeah.
It might be. Yeah, it might be. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you. I just liked it because I said, "Why is there glitter on it? What's this cat?"
Yeah, I mean it's great, isn't it? It's wonderful.
In the blue up there in the label though, it doesn't say if it's a ratio.
No, it doesn't say anything about a ratio.
Wow.
I'm looking.
Yeah, CGC is not good about recognizing ratios a lot.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 50.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's
so getting that for $10 is quite a deal.
Damn,
Yeah.
Skippy baby, 1 in 50.
Yeah, $10 on the shelf at my LCS at the time.
That was a book at our shop, was just selling out every time it was on the shelves, and he kept upping the order, and it still kept going.
Oh, 9.8 of that one's going for $280 up to $500.
wow.
Wow.
I am not selling it. It's actually the middle slot where it's missing. But that's
We
probably one of my
deconstructed
favorites.
his wall for the episode.
Well, that was just a fun series. Like it was great. It got like a lot of attention right away, and then it fell off a cliff.
And another one of those that's an option hell, right? All these all these properties that have been talked about over and over and over again, and you just don't see anything about it.
Until you see it come on to the actually be advertised that it's been filmed and it's coming out, then
right. Being an option is one thing. Actually being made is a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's another story.
But
and I considered bringing 8 Billion Genies number 7 just because as I was reading it, I'm thinking this could probably be the ending right here. And then 8 came out, and I said, "Oh wow!" But as I read 7, I'm like, "Well, what are they going to do for 8?" Because it just seemed like the conclusion at the time.
Yeah.
So that threw me through a loop. But I definitely like that series. There was also there's another one shot that came out around the time of New York Comic Con. I think it's called like Wish World.
okay.
I read that recently as well, and that was cool. It was the same spirit of first series 8 Billion Genies, but it was a one shot. So they had to get everything, or Charles Soule had to get everything in on that one issue, and it was good. But
I noticed that the independents have been doing that a lot. If a series is doing really well that they didn't expect, like Nocterra did it. They'd had the Val special, the Blacktop Bills special. All of a sudden, you see these little one-shot specials that delve a little bit deeper into the mythos.
I think that's a really good idea because often with indie books, their stories are like from 1 to 6. That is a completed story.
Yeah,
but there's probably a little bit of room to fit in a one shot, not necessarily do a whole continuation of the story.
Yeah,
I would have been livid if they did like another series of do a power bomb with a different writer or something. That would have driven me insane. But like if they'd done like a one shot with Daniel Warren Johnson, say now, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take that. That's why not.
Right.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
More of that thing I like. Okay, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
and you would think with that premise there'd be a lot more stories to tell that you could do more focused one shots on.
Yeah, they absolutely could with that particular story or with that series.
I think they're smart though. You don't want to overdo the gimmick,
Yeah, exactly, because you don't know how well it's going to sell, right? If
you don't want to take what's special away from it by overdoing it, which is something some of the big two suffer from a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they really do.
Right. And yeah, some of the indies, they know how to keep something special once they have it.
Yeah, like look at Geiger. It's just taken off all over the place, and now it's got one shots. It's going to spiral into a new series now. That one's been a lot of fun.
I love Geiger. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big two struggle with a lot of writing recently. I think the good writing is not with the big two for the most part. I think
DC has pretty good writing, but my experience with Marvel in the last year has not been great, and it's painful to see because of how much people love those characters. I mean, they really love them.
Yeah. But they seem to be afraid to come up with new characters. Seems to be the problem. Like Indy has no issue coming up with characters all over the place, but Marvel and DC just want to kind of stick with their rhetoric, and that's it.
Well, of course, the writers aren't getting compensated. I mean, they make the characters, and then they lose all rights to them and everything. So why would you use your best ideas for them?
Also true. Which I think that's why Ghost Machine is so exciting, because they get to own those characters, and therefore they might actually be pretty fire. I mean,
I don't blame the big two in a way, because whenever they deviate, everyone's like, "Oh, we want something new, we want something different from you." Then when they release it, and hardly anybody buys it. So like, look, we tried, we gave you this product. I even saw DC address that in a letters page once. Look, like, this book was good. This book was really good. None of you supported it, and the editor went off, goes, "This is why we stick to what the main characters are, because you guys tell us you want something different, and when we give it to you, you don't support it."
Well, yeah, they're victims of their own success.
So I mean, there's that to think about too at the end of the day. But number 10 though, we've deviated.
Oh, sure. Number 10 is kind of another one. I grabbed a kind of bunch of books that are similar, and these are really all cover buys in the sense that it's super dickery. So when Superman's a jerk,
oh, you gotta love when Superman's a jerk covers. I love that.
So he's abusing crypto here. Not abusing, but he's got a new dog and making crypto stay back with a kryptonite leash. Right here, he's making Jimmy Olsen marry a gorilla.
Sure, why not?
Why? Because I'm Superman. You're gonna do it, damn it.
Then,
can you imagine DC doing that now?
Oh yeah,
that would be hilarious. The whole internet would melt down.
So
it would be amazing.
Lois marry who?
This was Titan Man. Yeah, Titan Man.
Titan Man.
Terminator.
Man.
Terminator. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to get used to the camera thing. But yeah, serves you right. Marry him. Then Superman choking Lois or cutting off her airline in space, laughing about it. So
it was just so weird that there was so many of them too.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Well,
there's a lot.
The Lois Lane covers, man, those things are just epic. I mean, really.
And the one
that is a fantastic cover though. As well.
Love those bubble helmets.
Here's Wonder Woman throwing Lois, and then Superman laughing about it.
That's when Wonder Woman went off on that weird design tangent crap in the 70s. That was horrible.
People dying of thirst, and Superman's not letting them drink the water.
Holy cow.
Here the town needs some help, and he's here to trying to get used to the
Superman the bully.
Yeah, no, that's a great one.
That is a good one.
And then this one was a World's Finest, which is completely crazy in the sense that Batman's with a gun and making Jimmy Olsen and Robin dig their own graves.
Holy crap.
Just for fun, I guess.
That's amazing.
And then this was the one I put at the end. This was when I ended up I probably like this the best out of all of them, so I sent it to get graded, and this is when I ended up doing a blue light treatment on, doing a heat overlay press one time on it. I've kind of gotten really into pressing and cleaning. I really just enjoy that. It's something good to do with my hands and something that kind of relieves a lot of stress for me. So I've gotten into doing that recently, and this was one of those that I just said, okay, I don't care what the grade is. I'm going to put it on the wall. I find it hilarious. I like looking at this cover. It makes me smile. So cool. This is also one of those that's missing from the wall behind me typically. But these are all the super dickeries that I have. I'm really looking for a Jimmy Olsen number 30, which is, I think, my favorite. That's the one where Superman adopts Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen gives him a robe as a gift, and then Superman's blasting it, saying this is like a shit gift, and zapping the robe and burning it.
Like, what was going through their minds back then, like making those things, you wonder, right?
Half of those tales are imaginary tales, but they put those covers on there to get your to try and get your attention.
Yeah, like
that last one you showed there, Frog. We really need to substitute out Superman and put James Gunn in his place as he was trying to figure out what to do with the next slate of DC movies. So are we gonna give the water to Jimmy Olsen to go with Superman, or are we gonna go Aquaman 3? And it's clear what he decided. So
yeah, and I'm curious about this Jimmy Olsen thing. So
that's good stuff.
That is wild. That's one of my favorite things I've seen in at least this week. Like, great.
Dude, those covers, I love those covers when it's like Batman or Superman being a jerk. They're so funny.
Have you seen the one where Superman? It's a World's Finest. When they were doing the dollar size books, Frog, around the 250s or so, where he's got like a son or something that looks like a gnome or something like that. I'll send you the picture on IG later on. But
okay,
it's a really weird one. So
yeah, there's one of them where he's just treating Lois really bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
It's insane to me.
She's got no self-esteem.
Right now, it was only like, what are you going to do? Cry? Something like that. I can't even remember. I was like, oh my God. Those are great. Those are always good for a laugh. And like DVH said earlier, another good niche thing to collect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something it's kind of along the lines of the Jack Kirby. It's like they're not really in a sequential run, or they're not necessarily related, but there's an overall theme that I'm going for, and the theme is the Super Dickery. So
now, were those Kurt Swan covers? Most of them.
I couldn't tell you that honestly. Let's see. Neil Adams on this one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm not sure about a lot of those as far as who did the cover. I just laughed at them and thought they were great, and I wanted to keep them.
So number 11 with a extended personal story attached, Frog.
Yeah. So I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier. I kind of got into comics through Marvel Masterpieces through cards. This was a card of that original first series.
Oh, nice.
Old Emma.
And I'm a fan of Emma, but this particular card was one that I got in trouble in school for the very first time for having this card.
Really?
And I was always kind of like the good kid that never really got in any trouble at all, and good grades and everything. And I'm standing outside of my 4th grade class, and my teacher's like, "Oh, what are you kids doing?" And we have these cards. She's like, "What's that?" And she took this card. She goes, "This is inappropriate." Stole my card. I couldn't have it back. And then
that's unfair. That's not.
Oh man, if I was, man, I would
be livid. I was trading Hooters cards at that point, so like,
I would be
livid if they took my Marvel Masterpiece.
I was pretty upset. I didn't really know how to handle it because my parents knew what I had. My parents were fine with it. They didn't care that I had these cards, and they saw.
Yeah, that wasn't. It's not inappropriate.
But that kind of, I think that shaped my personality. That one event. So I just kind of go back to that and think like, yeah, man, that was the time that I felt like I got wronged.
Did you ever get a beautiful piece of art to that card?
I know. Did you get that card back at some point in time?
Yeah, I got it back shortly after it was taken from me because it was like kind of every 2 weeks I was up at the comic shop and spending my allowance money on a pack or two of Marvel Masterpieces, and came right back. I think there was something going on with those cards at the time where certain cards were only released at certain periods, or maybe they were only in certain boxes, and I probably had the same box. So it wasn't a big deal in the long scheme or in the long run, but it was a big deal at the time. And then just kind of lost trust for teachers, and kind of, I don't know, it jarred me a good bit. I can see
why. It's completely unreasable.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
It's a judgment that is really unfair, and basically they were just picking on you because like,
it's not shame you for having such a cool card.
It's a good thing we didn't tell you what most of us do on this panel.
Forcing her perceptions of what's appropriate and inappropriate on you as well.
Yeah, and so to add on to the personal story of this, as I was trying to get my stuff together last night and the night before, and for whatever reason I thought this was Hellions. And I'm looking in my H section in my boxes, like HE, and I see the Psylocke cover for the Marvel Masterpiece, and like, where's Emma? And I'm looking, and I can't find it, and spent about an hour and a half looking around the house. Did I put it aside because I knew I wanted to talk about this? Where is it? And then I said, I don't know. I have to Google this and figure out what's going on. And I Googled it. Oh, it's Inferno. It's not Hellions. So that added on a good hour and a half of frustration for the same card once again.
And Jackson was giving you a little poke in here. I'll show you, teacher. Just wait till you see what I collect in the future. Cherry blackberry.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Exactly.
Now you should see if she's still alive and send her that whole run.
Oh
yeah. Say hey, thanks by the way.
Here's some PTSD for you now.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So
send it right back.
we are now to your spec pick, Frog.
Oh, here we go. Come on.
I had a lot of hard time with this. I don't know if I spec or if I kind of just.
I don't think anybody has been on this show and said that they spec.
Right.
Like
everybody buys spec books.
Nobody does.
Right.
This is the closest I could get, and the reason I purchased it is just because I got it for a really good deal, and I kind of knew what it was, but I'm not a big DC guy, but it's this.
Justice League, yeah.
Very cool.
With the James
Maxwell
Gunn,
Lord.
yeah, exactly. With Maxwell Lord, I know Sean Gunn was cast as Maxwell Lord. I think that's
cool
really. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Wow.
Yeah.
With him trying to be Maxwell Lord, and after the comments he made around Bob Iger, I think it's going to be probably some correlation there. I think that we're going to see something that ties back to those early actor strike comments that he made, and that may have something to do with what he's going to do with this role, or I think it may influence in some way. But yeah, it's a really good book to have anyway. I got it pretty good price on it and pressed it up.
Yeah, that's
I think
pretty clean too for a white cover.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one in the 9.8.
This was one I cleaned. I cleaned this and didn't need a blue light or anything, but I can't find anything other than one spine tick on it, and so.
I mean, it looks great from.
Joe's sitting on retirement money right there.
Right, Joe's shout flexing us right now.
There you go.
10 copies.
10 copies. Not 61.
You don't need 10 copies. Just send me one. That'd be fine.
Each member of the Justice League.
And I could spec on Something Is Killing the Children too. That's something that I'm really big into. That I've read every release of Something Is Killing the Children. And, you know,
I still think that there is a very good chance that will eventually be something.
I think so. It's the new Buffy, you know.
Yeah, they just got to change the name of it. That's not very good Netflix type of name.
Oh, I think it is.
I think Netflix aren't going to be afraid of that.
No, you don't think so?
If they keep it like an R-rated sort of show, like if they're aiming at a teen market, then maybe it is a problem. But you know, I wouldn't say it was an issue. I mean, if you look at some of the shows that they've made with the titles, there are a few that are a bit sort of like, well, you wouldn't see that on daytime TV, but it's Netflix. So
Sex and Robots.
Yeah, there you go.
Excellent books, Frog. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
That's a hell of a collection, man.
Yeah, I loved it. That was really fun.
You got some great stuff on the bookshelves behind you too. So
yeah, and I'm happy to say I've pressed every single one of them, so I didn't have to worry about reholders and any scams like that.
No,
they're all things I saw myself.
Sent in. Yeah, smart.
Nice. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on and
thank you for having me
a little more.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun. Nerves are a wreck, but that's part of it.
This is easy, dude. This is just like hanging out at the bar with your buddies. There's nothing complicated about this at all. Don't psych yourself out.
It's like anything too. The more times you do it, it becomes second nature, man.
Yeah, hopefully.
So we're gonna go around the horn here, though, like we always do. Steve, what's coming up for you, sir?
Well, I've got a series going on with my G.I. Joe collection that I've been dropping videos on. So I'm going through all 155 issues of that. And then the next one I'm going to drop is I'm going to talk about goals for 2024. And, you know, kind of review what I've done for the 23 goals and whether I achieved them or not and what I'm going to do for 24. And that's about it so far. But, you know, ideas keep coming.
Right. Chuck, anything coming up for you?
Tomorrow night
show.
I'm going to be with Joe tomorrow night, and we're going to be talking about Treasury editions.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see Frog pull out a Treasury edition.
I guess we could throw Joe a plug if we have to, right?
We could, and you know that sounds like a good plug there. So there we go.
Tune into Anachronic Comics tomorrow night for Treasury edition. And what time is that going to be on, Chuck?
That's going to be 8:00. And so for all of us older guys, since we're doing the treasury editions, you won't need your high-powered glasses. So it's great.
You can see these books from space.
Well, you can at least see them at your own house. You don't have to get that close to the screen. So it'll be good for you.
And that is 8 p.m. Eastern, everyone.
Yes, 8 p.m. Eastern.
There we go. We got Jackson with the link there. Very nice. All right, DVH, what's coming up for you?
Well, first I want to say, since I was on last week, I've crossed the 300 threshold on the subscribers. So I'd like to thank you for having me on.
Congratulations.
That might have tipped me over the edge. You never know. And I'll have a video coming out on Friday for sure. Well, I guess today now, looking at my clock. Yeah, it's nearly 2 a.m. here. So if there is a show on Triple G's channel, I'll be on there on Saturday after Only Slabs. We're not sure yet. There might be, there might not be. Then I'll have another video up on Monday, and that's the plan.
Excellent.
Awesome. Nice. So coming up for me, we of course Savage Saturday Comic Review will be back this Saturday. Took last Saturday off with everything going on for Christmas at the last minute. We have Dusty Brick Brown coming on the 6th, but next Thursday we have Biggie Shack back for his second, the 10-1-1.
Oh, cool.
So some fun there. And I'll probably jump on a stream here or there, most likely at CJ's channel at some point. And Frog, you got anything coming up, sir?
I'm putting out my 3rd YouTube video tonight.
Ooh,
nice. Very good.
So,
and the name of your channel is just Frog Brawler?
Do channels have names? I guess that's how new I am to this. But yeah, I guess it's probably just Frog Brawler. It used to be just a bunch of videos of me taking, shots of my fish. And I got a copyright strike or something from YouTube for one of my fish videos. I don't know what happened there, but
music.
Probably music. I think I had some music playing in my office when it was going or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
that'll do it.
Okay.
I've switched from videos of my fish to I made 2 YouTube videos, and now I'm putting the 3rd one out tonight. So, figured I'd chime in with some of my thoughts on the whole CGC drama.
You're going to have to send me the link to your YouTube channel. I'll try to find it. That way I can put it in the description here. That way anyone that wants to sub you up can find it through this video.
Oh, great. I appreciate that.
It's just got a new sub from me. So I'm on board. I'm on the frog train, as it were.
Thank you, DVH.
Let's see. Is it just Frog Brawler DVH?
Yeah, it's at Frog Brawler if you want the
DVH has in the chat.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, I subscribed a while ago, so I thought that was pretty cool.
I didn't even know you had a YouTube channel, so
I kind of don't. I mean, I kind of do, kind of don't.
Oh no, now you do. Now you're gonna have to start churning them out and join. Right? Be one of us.
No.
Yeah, the first video I made was 90 minutes long, and that was just probably a mistake. So, made a shorter one after that. And I think that the 3rd one's going to be like 12 minutes. So it's a little bit more easy to digest.
Well, there you go. You got a few. I mean, I subbed to you, Chuck. All of us on the panel did. Now Jean Malo has. Mm-hmm. And Tina sent out the link because Tina's the best.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
Good job, Tina.
There you go, Jack. One of us.
Yeah.
And DVH also dropped it. Thank you, DVH.
No worries.
There you go. Oh, my mods. I have good mods.
Agreed.
But
thank
you very much, Frog. It was such a pleasure to have you on, man, and see your books and actually get to talk to you and have a conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really fun. Definitely looked forward to it for a while. So, glad it's happening, or glad it happened.
Yeah, you got great taste.
John saying it's okay to reciprocate, so make sure you sub John back.
Will do.
Oh, like Trev. But thank you so much, and I want to thank my co-host once again. Part of the reason the 10-1-1 works is always bringing in co-hosts, people with different perspectives and personalities, which helps keep the show fresh. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate your knowledge and your time. And also a big thank you to the crowd. We had a great crowd tonight. So thank you guys for tuning in to support Frog Brawler. And Everyone's links are in the description below. Please sub everybody up. And as I like to end these things, keep it casual.